When I started teaching here in Rishikesh, it was like it was the it was the first time I realized that I was experiencing what it was like to be in heaven while still being on earth. I remember I was with my wife and two other people were at the time, and we were walking. I think somewhere we were walking on the beach about half a mile up on the other side of the bridge, and we were going for a walk there. And I was standing by myself. There was a friend of mine who was standing about 10 feet away, and my wife and this other woman were walking in the river, in their ankles, just walking in the water. And nobody was speaking. And we were just standing there quietly. And then I remember turning to my friend and I said to him, "This is nirvana." And I remember he looked at me and he looked shocked, and then he just agreed. So the time here together when this teaching began was like that. It was like that the whole time. It was like being in heaven. It was like being in heaven. And there was between 5 and I think 8 of us living together. We had rented out some rooms up above the river, about a mile from here, and we spent all of our time together, from the morning until the evening. Constantly inquiring into the nature of what was true, what was real. In the evenings, we would have we would kind of have a formal gathering where I would be teaching in a more formal way. It would usually be in my room, and that would last. We'd probably start about 8 or 9 o'clock and go till midnight. And then we would take a break at midnight, and I remember we'd have tea and mangoes every night at midnight. And then we'd come back and we'd continue for a couple of hours and then go to bed very late, about 3 and 4 in the morning. And we'd get up about 9 or 10, and we'd go to the tea shop, and we'd come together, and it would start all over again. It would start all over again. So the bliss and the ecstasy and the joy and the intimacy and it was always compounded by the fact that I and we were living constantly in the direct, conscious recognition that what it was that we were sharing together was very, very significant. It was very, very important. The fact that we were each personally experiencing and also sharing in this unspeakable mystery and the kind of intimacy that we were experiencing as a result of that, kind of coming together in an impersonal oneness. I remember very clearly at that time what it meant was very obvious to me then, and it was something that was continuously bringing me to my knees. And it was something that also, we were speaking about. But to be honest, when I think back, I think that we were all in it together, but I think I was more aware of what it meant than everybody else. The fact that what its actual significance was.
Was it clear for you and the others that you are the teacher, or was there only this oneness among the 8 people?
Yes, it was clear. It was clear. At that time, how it became clear was that as a result of spending this time with me, all the people there were having very profound experiences, very profound, very powerful spiritual experiences. But what became very obvious very quickly is that I was the only one uh, who didn't have any questions anymore and seemed to have access to many, many answers about many things that I'd never even thought about. And so the difference was that we all were sharing in the very same experience, the very same personal um, experience of love and joy and peace and bliss. But the effect on me was proving itself really every day to be quite different than the effect it was having on the others, because I was convinced beyond any doubt about the reality of what it was that was occurring and was continually occurring. And none of the others had the kind of confidence that I did. None of the others were as stable as I was. So at first I thought when they began to have these experiences, I thought, well, now they're not any different than I am. Now we're all the same, because they seemed to be experiencing, exactly what it is that I had experienced. um, but over time, the fact that there was a difference between me and them, just became apparent, and that's what happened.
Was it clear also at that time already that you will be a teacher?
Well, that's what my teacher had told me from the very beginning. That's what he said. He said he told me that it was up to me to accept responsibility for this work, and I wasn't really sure exactly what it meant, but I knew obviously it meant that I was going to be a teacher. So that's what he told me, and because of everything that was continually happening all around me, there was no doubt that it obviously was true.